everybody, Mike Naso here from podweather.com and Internet Partnership Radio with an update on Tropical Storm Dolly. And you can see in the western Atlantic here, sitting in the western Gulf of Mexico, is Tropical Storm Dolly right in here, moving northwesterly, and is expected to make landfall somewhere near the Texas-Mexico border region as a hurricane, a potent hurricane, right around 90 miles an hour, but the exact strength and landfall location is still unknown. As of 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 Eastern, it was at 24.0 north, 94.5 west. Winds were up to 70 miles an hour, so it's almost a hurricane, gusting to 85. It's moving to the northwest at 11, and that's important for a landfall in Texas because the more latitude it gains, the worse it looks for Texas. And the pressure is now down to 991 millibars and continues to fall. And the track has it by later tonight as a hurricane, and then making landfall sometime tomorrow, late in the morning, early afternoon, this time tomorrow, right near Brownsville and the border region as a 90-mile-an-hour hurricane. But again, it could be further north, and it could be further south, and it could also be a little stronger, a little weaker than what we see right now. We do have hurricane warnings out from Corpus Christi, Texas, down to Brownsville, and then even beyond that, down in towards northern Mexico, as well as the tropical storm watches and warnings. All this as the center of Dolly continues to approach, and you can see the wind radius with this system right now. As we look at the tropical storm wind radius, it would likely cause tropical storm force winds in both Texas and Mexico, but once those hurricane force winds start to develop right around there, those could also go into both Texas and Mexico. So we may get a twofer if this thing makes landfall right at the border, and right now that looks like it is quite possible. Looking at the latest visible satellite loop as the sun comes up, you can see Dolly at the beginning was sitting right over here, and at the end of the loop it slowly progressed on towards the northwest. And if it were to continue that, it would definitely strike the state of Texas. However, it is expected to kind of slow down, move a little bit more west-northwest, and bend west, which is why somewhere in the general vicinity of the border is looking likely at this point. Again, you can see it's getting better organized right there at the end. You start to see kind of almost the eye feature is going to wrap up into a hurricane, it looks like, pretty soon. And then it should have 12 to 18 hours to strengthen. So how strong a hurricane is just not yet known, depending on how well it gets that eye wall established. That will have a big impact on that. You can see the long-range radar out of Brownsville does show the center of Dolly sitting right there, and you can see that even better. There is the eye, and it's just coming on screen. You're going to have these rain bands coming in one after the other, and as you progress more towards the center, they're going to get worse and worse, and then eventually you'll have the eye wall. But again, if you look at that direction, that does seem to be taking a general direction like this, which is straight up towards the border region of Mexico and Texas. So we're going to continue to watch the center of Dolly on radar as it gets closer the next few days. Looking again at the infrared satellite imagery, it still could look a little bit better organized on the western side. It did look good on the west yesterday, but not on the east. Now it looks better on the east, but not on the west. But as this anticyclone gets better established over it, and the waters are very warm, we should see strengthening. Now, as far as the track is concerned, as I mentioned, it looks like the border region is most likely. Again, some of the models, you can see the H-Wurf has it coming in up here near Corpus Christi. The No-Gaps has it coming down here in northern Mexico. If it continued its current motion, it would be right near the border region, and that's where the Hurricane Center track and most of the model guidance takes it. So a slowdown, a movement northwest, and a turn back west is what we're seeing. And when that turn occurs, how far north is it, is going to be key in exactly where landfall takes place. Now, as far as the upper level winds, as I mentioned, we do have this very favorable anticyclone centered over the system, and once Dolly moves just a little bit more northwest, which it's doing now, it's going to be perfectly aligned with the high pressure aloft, and so rapid strengthening could occur as long as it has an inner core established. And when we look back at that radar, you could clearly see it is in the process of establishing an inner core, and if landfall doesn't occur for another 24 hours, it could be strengthening at a decent clip when it's coming in. And a strengthening hurricane making landfall is much worse than a weakening hurricane making landfall. In '02, we saw Hurricane Lily strike as 90 miles an hour up there in central Louisiana. The highest gust was 92. About less than a year later, Hurricane Claudette hit Port O'Connor, Texas. Same strength as Lily, 90 miles an hour, but we had higher gusts because Claudette was strengthening as it came in. Lily was weakening. So if this thing comes in strengthening at 90 miles an hour, we're going to see wind gusts up towards 110, 115 easy. You can see the water temperatures are very, very warm. As long as it doesn't stall out and upwell itself, it should be able to have that fuel for intensification. So the bottom line, as far as Dolly's concerned with the impacts, we should see rain amounts potentially up to 15 inches, storm surge flooding of 4 to 6 feet above normal tide levels, large and dangerous battering waves, and right now the wind forecast is for a 90-mile-an-hour Category 1 hurricane. That's almost Cat 2. The higher gusts will certainly be in the 2-3 range, and we'll have to see if Dolly doesn't strengthen as much as we expect or strengthens even more as far as what the concerns will be. But you can see Dolly there on the infrared strengthening and moving northwestward, expected to bend back west and make landfall somewhere in either South Texas or northern Mexico. Stay tuned to IPR365.com. We're going to have live streaming audio coverage all the way until this thing's inland, including Brian Norcross on Center of Circulation tonight at 9 p.m., so stay tuned for that. I'm Mike Naso, and I'll be back later with another update on Dolly. Stay tuned.